Hi there, this is Mr. Evans with what should be quite a short video on the shareholder versus the stakeholder concept. So we are down here in the specification. We're looking at the external environment as part of our PESTLE analysis to assess opportunities and threats in the external environment. So this kind of goes back to when you were looking in Unit 1, I believe it was, at the different stakeholder groups and doing the stakeholder mapping and looking at the different objectives of stakeholders. This is on the specification. The traditional view of businesses is the shareholder concept, and I've really put traditional in kind of inverted commas, but the view that businesses should be aimed for the benefit, run for the benefits of their owners, and the aim of that business is to profit maximise, obviously to enable the owners to, maximise their dividend payments, take money out of the business, etc. I say, and you can associate that. You look at some of the pictures of kind of Victorian manufacturing with the conditions that workers were placed in. Maybe if there was market domination, the customers were kind of taken for granted. That famous Henry Ford quote, the customer can have any colour they want as long as it's black. They're kind of examples of the shareholder concept. I'm not saying it didn't exist, but even back then, there were companies that kind of embraced this stakeholder concept. Companies like Cadbury's, who had a factory at Keynsham in Bristol, where they kind of took care of their employees and weren't just run for the benefits of their shareholders. However, we consider the shareholder concept the aim of profit maximisation. Stakeholder concept recognises the importance of benefiting each of the different groups of business has an impact on, i.e. its shareholders, and the aim of the business is to profit satisfice. Satisfice is made out of two words, satisfy. We're recognising that we do need to satisfy our owners. We do need to make a profit. If we don't make a profit, the business isn't going to survive and it's not going to be able to benefit anyone. So we need to make a profit. Let's satisfy our shareholders so they're happy. But we might sacrifice some of our profits from profit maximisation to reinvest in the company, to train our workers, to improve our market research so we know what customers want. So, very basic table. The beneficiaries of the shareholder concept are the owners and the shareholders, whereas the stakeholder concepts take a far more wide-ranging view, trying to benefit more of the groups involved in the business. The time scale, obviously, is a relatively short-term view we're taking if we're kind of maximising profits, taking as much money out of the business as we can. That business probably we're not reinvesting as much as we could. We're not treating our customers well. We're not necessarily treating our employees well, and so unless that business has got fairly significant monopoly power, that business will not be surviving for too long. Whereas the stakeholder concept could be considered a far more long-term view. The objectives of the shareholder concept, not only maximisation but market domination to enable them to get away with kind of treating customers and employees in this way. Whereas the stakeholder concept, we're looking at satisficing, making enough profit, but also satisfying customers, engaging in staff development, having ethical and environmental aims, looking to benefit as many stakeholders as we can, because ultimately, of course, in the long run, if we perform well in all of these areas, ironically, this approach will quite literally pay dividends in the long run. We're going to be making more money in the long run if we take this approach. And you could argue that maybe the shareholder concept is theory X style of management, whereas stakeholder concept might be more theory Y.